And we are live. What's going on, everybody? I am Adam. This is Highly Articulated, and today I am in panic mode because full disclosure, I normally get my sort of my list down to 20. That's sort of been what I've done the last few years, is like I get down to about 20 and then I do my top 10 live from that, stealing the whole concept, stealing the whole idea from Dan Larson. The panic is due to the fact that I'm not down to 20. This was kind of a wild year for action figures, and especially for me, because as much as I dislike picking up new lines, sometimes a new line comes along that I just can't not pick up. And so, as far as what I've got, displayed here, really, Cyberzoic, Skeletron, Scooby-Doo, off camera over there just a little bit, the the Bandai Tamashii Nation. I don't know how to the movie Realization. I've got this guy over here, which he might be able to sneak on screen once I get a few of these things eliminated. But there was just way too many good figures that came out this year, or thereabouts. Now this guy over here, who I'm sort of who's off screen still because there's not enough room, may almost disqualify himself, which will make my life easier, because I think he was released earlier, but I picked him up at San Diego Comic-Con. So part of the panic is that I haven't even sort of defined my own rules. I haven't even decided to what extent what my criteria is for best of 2025. Is it what I picked up in 2025? Is it figures that were released in 2025? Is it anyway? I didn't even pick up all these figures. Some of them were picked up for me, such as Neil, Black Series Neil. And if you'd asked me a couple years ago if I would have a Black Series blue elephant child from a Star Wars property that I'd never heard of before, I probably would have said no. But alas, here we are. Like I said, I normally get my list down to 20 and then eliminate figures from there. However, this year, every time I try to eliminate something, I ended up sort of adding something. there are certain instances where a figure comes with more than just a figure. Looking at Helena and the Saber Beast, looking at the Polar Bear that goes with Snake Eyes, looking at the Ghost Wolf that goes with the Ghost Viper, looking at Krampus that goes with Doc Nocturnal. And in some cases, I didn't even show everything. I have Cold Slither Zartan representing all the members of Cold Slither with just a guitar. There's no drums, there's no bass, there's no, like, I just got one. I kind of have Scooby-Doo representing the Jada Scooby-Doo line. He's back there. You can't even see him yet. He may or may not make it to the final top 10. I honestly don't know. The other sort of level of panic is that I genuinely don't know what to pick. It's been a crazy year. It's been an exciting year in terms of new lines, new figures, picking things up at San Diego Comic-Con that I never thought would exist. Re-releases too. I'm also counting, I got a re-release from Plunderlings that was released in 2025, so I'm counting that. Slythe was re-released in 2025, so I'm counting him. This one's gonna go. This one's gonna go. I just wanted to show this off because I'm very proud of getting this. We'll get there when I sort of begin properly. But another aspect, another layer of the panic is that I don't have room to set up my microphone. So if the audio sounds bad, that's because it's running through my iPhone, which is also my camera, which is right in front of me, right here. Normally I run my iPhone but when I do my unboxings, when you see this view on the channel over the last little bit, you get the camera, but you also get a separate microphone. And when I do my videos, I have a separate, when I do live videos, when you see my face, I have a separate microphone. So if the audio is crap, too bad, because I was using all the ports that I needed to do everything else, and I could not plug in the microphone that I normally use when I do this style of video. I actually use a Ulanzi microphone, so that plugs into my phone normally, and then I just sort of clip that onto my shirt. But when I use the iPhone as a camera, I plug a cable into it so it doesn't sort of drop the signal or lose the signal. So that brings you up to speed to where I am right now in panic mode, trying to narrow down this field of amazing action figures to the top 10 of 2025 for me. Now, the good news is, I think in some cases I have like 2 to 3 figures of the same line, and then I can kind of just pick one from the line to represent the line, if that makes sense. But in other cases, I don't. In other cases, I have one, and so that's where, it'll get a little bit harder. But anyway, before we go any further, let me just say hello to the chat. Mr. Ryan Clark is here. Red 5, Ray Paz, Speaking Moistly. Nolan is here as well to officially make this video legit. Larry's Geeky World, The Collecting Brothers, Josh Brown Toys, Josh Brown Customs. I got to reach out to Josh Brown. I need to augment some of my favorite figures with the help of Josh Brown. Mr. Ryan Clark, we're doing this Dan Larson style. Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest. When people just list off their top 10, I'm like, okay, that's cool, that's great. But it feels, I don't know. It feels a little bit dry, and it feels a little bit dull. So I find myself skipping through those videos all the time. The only ones that I don't skip through are Dan Larson's. And so, as I said, I fully admit that this format is 100% stolen from Dan Larson. Um, I don't anticipate a cease and desist or any sort of copyright strike, but if Dan Larson wants to tell me I can't do this, he's welcome to. But this to me is the most fun way to do this. I've intentionally not thought about this too hard. I've intentionally kind of left my long list quite long so that, on the day it would be more fun. Josh Brown says, do a top 25. If I did a top 25, you'd be looking at a table of 50 figures. Like that's because that's how my brain works. I want it to be more dramatic. I want it to be more fun. I want it to be more engaging. Over the course of this, one of you might make a comment that changes my mind. I may sort of have to reconsider some of my choices if some of your comments kind of sway me. Retro Toy Princess is here. Good afternoon, Allison. Good to have you. Mr. Ryan Clark says there's a lot of great stuff on screen already. Yeah, and this is honestly every time. Well, I'll get into it more when I sort of look at specific figures, but like there's a lot of figures that probably could have been on the table that aren't, and I hope that I don't sort of regret some of these decisions or kind of reconsider it because everything else is, I'm not going to be able to pull anything else off and add it to the table now. That's just not how it works. Mint with Card is here as well. Hello there. Good to have you. Let's see. Yeah, Neil was I'll be perfectly honest. Neil was the last thing to make it onto the table because I kind of forgot that he came out in 2025. But then when I was sort of shifting things around, I was like, oh, I got to put Neil in, on the table at least. I don't even know if he's going to make the top 10. But he might. I don't know. Red 5 says, I still need that koi fish. Koi is... koi... I think koi is probably just about a lock for the top 10, but I don't know. I'm too far away from the 10 at this point for me to say that with any certainty. Ray Pass says, you mean Shaggy. Did I say Scooby? I always say Scooby. I mean Shaggy. Shaggy Rogers. I didn't know that was his last name, but yes, Shaggy Rogers. Sorry, I always say Scooby as a proxy for like the Scooby-Doo line, but it is in fact Shaggy. Although Scooby may be, top 10 2026. Mint with Card says it was a lot of fun, but a lot of work to put together my top 10 video. Yeah, I mean, this is it's hard. I mean, it's one thing when you just sort of like decide your list for yourself. But then as soon as you add the element of like, I got to put it on video, then like your decisions are, then people can like criticize what your top 10 is, which is very odd. And people are welcome to do that, but it is what it is. There's no objectivity about my top 10. My top 10 is literally going to be the 10 figures that are the most exciting ones to me, that I've played with the most over the course of the year. Admittedly, there's a lot of recency bias in my list, but I don't know that it's a recency bias so much as it is there was a lot of things that I got in the second half of the year, or even like right at the end, to be perfectly honest, that ended up being on the list, but largely because they were that good. But anyway, Larry's Geeky World says Slythe is such a good figure. Yeah, but he's an older figure, so he might not make my list just because I might kind of trim him out to make my life easier, because originally he's released a couple years ago. So yeah, Ray Pass, they're glow in the dark dinos from Creative Beast. I didn't realize there were. There's a fun story to go with that one. Will it glow now if you turn off the lights? Yes, probably, but I'm not going to. Okay, and I'm finally getting to where this is Red 5. Thank you, Mr. Ryan Clark. Thank you, Larry Clark, Brian Brink. Thank you, guys. I am I'm going. Yeah, this is like one of the hardest videos to make all year. I'll be perfectly honest. This is like it's like this is a small sample of what I picked up this year. And every year I go, oh, I'm not gonna buy as much stuff as I did last year. And every year I'm like, oh, I didn't get that much stuff. And then I'm like, oh, I gotta make a top 10. And then I'm like, oh, will I even be able to pick a top 10? And then I have 30 figures on my desk. Anyways, let's see. There are no stakes. That's new feature for 2026. I'm gonna start a gambling app, and people are gonna be able to bet on what my top 10 will be. Spaded One McDysentery is here. Good to have you, buddy. Happy New Year to you as well. 1-6 shooter. What's going on, Trevor? Good to have you, buddy. I think you guys did this with Legions, I think. But did you guys do this with like all lines? It's so much harder when it's all lines. But anyways. Yeah, if Josh Brown Toy says figure augmentation is my specialty. I'm specifically looking at this guy right here. I blew it, didn't get Plunderling stuff from you at Legions Con, and now I'm kicking myself. Brian Brink says this year Dan has been doing his lists live anyway. Yeah, and it's fun. It's fun, but it's also terrible because the comments just keep coming, and I'm 17, 18 minutes in, and I haven't even started. Partly because I'm stalling, because I'm also looking at the figures and trying to decide what's the first one that's gonna go. Anyway, some calming lo-fi. I think I can actually do that. Do you guys want some calming lo-fi? No, I don't like that. I don't like that. No, I feel like it's distracting. Do I want it? Hold on. I don't. That was 2 seconds of calming lo-fi, and it was more than enough for me. I didn't want it. Red 5 says I made a top 10 and forgot to add Vegeta. I didn't pick up any Vegetas this year, which was shocking. Because for the last few years, I think I have. I don't see Storm Arena, Ryu, or Ken on this table, which tells me you don't have either. Those boys are spectacular. Yeah, I've seen them on a lot of lists. I didn't pick them up because I have the Jada Street Fighter Ken and Ryu, and I'm good with those. Once I have a character, I'm typically fairly reluctant to get another one unless it's like a different version or whatever. And I'm kind of sticking with Jada. So I do have, some Jada Street Fighter figures back here with Vega and Sagat. Yeah, Ray Pass says, dude, I love Jada. Do you have Tony the Tiger in there from Jada? No, because he didn't make this list, believe it or not. Initially he made my long list, and then once I got all these figures on the table, I was like, I don't think Tony makes the cut. Because there's already multiple representations from Jada. There's multiple representations of anthropomorphic characters. Tony the Tiger is, to me, more of a novelty figure than it is an action figure that's going to fit into my like play patterns. And so for me, play patterns and sort of play value actually factors into my decision making. So let's see. I'm trying to get through this The chat. I might skip a bunch. And just sort of get right into it. Trevor says we're doing the top 5 Legion show tomorrow night. I will be tuning in. I like that one. Legions was a tough one for me. Mythic Legions was a very, very difficult one for me because I probably could have had 10 on the table because they don't put out bad figures. But ultimately, it's you know, I could put out 10 Mythic Legions figures, but I don't play with them all the time. So there has to be a little bit of a balance there. So that's what makes this so much harder. How about some urgent lo-fi? I'll pass on the urgent lo-fi. I want to see someone paint a Mezco Popeye head green and slap it on that Plunderling. That, I mean, proportion-wise, Plunderling's Popeye, not far off. Christopher Bouchard is here. Good to have you, buddy. Thank you for joining. That's a good, that's sort of a good break. Let's get into it. Do they have to go though? Maybe they can each all hold the spotlight for a moment. Yes, they will. I mean, I will talk about why everything is on this table, even as it gets eliminated. That's the fun. That's the game. And then ultimately the top 10 is the top 10 that mean the most to me this year. And it's for different reasons. I mean, some of it, it's like this figure is amazing. Some of it is, hey, I picked this up at San Diego Comic-Con. Some of it is, hey, this is the first time I've ever had a figure from this line. Hey, this line is new and I'm really into it. Hey, this is whatever. I don't know. But yeah, that's where we're at. Speaking with this, I only have 2 of the figures on the screen. That's cool. I mean, maybe you'll see something else that you like. Maybe you'll see everything that I go through and think, yeah, I'm glad I didn't pick those up. That's the point. Everybody's list is going to be different. Nobody's list is wrong. Everybody's list is based on their own criteria, their own interests, their own, how people see value in particular toys is not right or wrong. I mean, that's the whole fun of this, is that everybody has different things that they love and that they like and that they dislike, and in some cases that they hate. And those are all valid perspectives. So I feel incredibly honored and incredibly lucky to have people that care what my opinion is. And so that's, why I'm doing this, is because my collecting used to exist in a vacuum for 30 plus years of my life. And now I get to like hang out with you guys and talk about toys and talk about what I love and talk about what you love, and we can disagree and tease each other because of it. So Red 5 says Tony the Tiger was so much fun to play with. He was, but it wasn't. When I sort of pull figures off the shelf, it's often because my kids are interested and my kids want to play with stuff. And Tony the Tiger is cool, but he doesn't have the same cachet that some other stuff does in terms of who's reaching for what on the shelf. So that was kind of how he didn't make it. E. McNeil is here as well. Good to have you, buddy. Good to see you. Baited one with Dysentery. This is a great example of what I just said. Saying I definitely prefer Storm Arena over Jada SF, but Jada figures are spectacular too, and they're super close to actually finishing the roster. Great stuff from them. And I started with them as far as Street Fighter, and so I'll kind of finish with them. I've said this a few times, like, I'm not a massive video game guy, I'm not a massive Street Fighter guy, but Jada's Street Fighter figures are so good that I decided to pick them up, and undeniably, I mean, I've got 2 of them, still on the table here, of the 6 or so that came out this year, and so they're undeniably figures that I love. And I anticipate that in 2026, there's probably going to be a couple more in my list. But That isn't to say that Storm Arena isn't something that I'm interested in, because when they start doing Darkstalkers, they're gonna get plenty of my money. Spaded said, I want to see someone use that Tony the Tiger as a base for a Johnny Bravo. All it would require is like a belt and boots and an alternate head, I think, and different hands. But other than that, I think you'd be pretty close. That's no, I'm not even saying that. That's what's terrible. I appreciate your comment, because there were so many times that I wanted to use that joke. Tony the Tiger is great, but he's just not in my top 10. He was never going to factor into my top 10, which is why he didn't make the long list, is because I knew that even if he made the long list and was on the table right here, he would not make the top 10. It just wasn't going to happen, because there's so much good stuff here. It just wasn't going to happen. Wasn't going to happen for Tony. Yeah, JMax77, seeing all these fantastic figures is such a reminder of how blessed we have been this past year. So many great releases, and this isn't all of them. This isn't all of them at all, right? So, whoop. Okay. Let me fix that. There we go. Okay, I'll read Josh's comments, and then I'm going to just jump into this. Josh says, Jada was first for me, and Storm will put out a bunch of variants I can get, but I'm also in for Darkstalkers. I'm 100% in for Darkstalkers. I can't believe there isn't a good Darkstalkers line already. I know that Storm has the license and has had it for a while, but I wasn't about to pull the trigger on their Storm collectibles Darkstalkers just because of the price. I don't love them that much. Red 5 says, my kid always grabs Tony, so now he's at the front of the shelf. That's awesome, man. And the Jada stuff's bomb-proof, so it's perfect to have a figure like that be, available for a kid. All right. Where do I begin? Ay. Where do I begin? Okay, I gotta eliminate somebody. I'm gonna eliminate somebody real quick. I'm gonna eliminate. Who am I kidding? This video might go on for 6 hours. Oh my goodness. Okay, I think for the sake of time, I am going to eliminate figures that were not released in 2025 originally. Meaning if it's a reissue or a remake, it gets cut. I just think that there's 4 figures on the table right now that I can get rid of that quickly, just because they didn't come out in 2025 the first time around. The first one being this little Plunderling. So this is a re-release from the original Kickstarter. This guy's name, I believe, is Gonk, and it's an awesome figure. It's fantastic. I love that he's sort of in perfect goblin green. Not many of the Plunderlings have sort of the sort of scuffed up elbows, scuffed up knees. And so I actually really, really love this guy. He is going to be joining my travel companions of Pale and Goyle. So this guy's going to be traveling with me, I think, probably for the future, because Plunderlings are just great pocket pals. They're great travel buddies. And so he's definitely, I'm excited that they re-released this. I picked this guy up at Legion's Con. So I picked this up late in 2025, but would have picked him up if I had gotten into Plunderlings earlier. But because he's an original Kickstarter offering that was re-released in 2025, he is going to be removed. Likewise, I think Slythe is going to get removed, because Slythe was, I want to say 2023, maybe that he was originally released and then re-released in 2025 for those of us that were foolish enough not to pick him up in the first place. Fantastic figure, really, really cool figure, heavy, maybe the best of the mutants, but because he was a re-release, I'm going to say that he is out. I'm going to have to figure out where to put these once I take them off the table. Because I just realized that I'm taking up most of the table. Josh Brown, did you hold off on Plunderbeaks just so you didn't have to deal with this on this list? 30% that, 30% shipping costs, and 40% because I can just get them at Legion's Con and chat with Ricky and like hang out, and he gets more of my money directly because he's not paying fees and so on and so forth. So yes, short answer, yes. Okay, that's already a few eliminated, so now we're a little bit closer. What am I down to? Way over 10. I still got to get rid of a bunch. Okay. Next up. This. He's off screen. I'll bring him on screen. The May Show movie realization, SH Figure Arts, Tamashii Nation. I don't know. There's so many words that go along with these releases. But the Yojimbo Mandalorian and Grogu. The little Grogu has a top knot, which is ridiculous and hilarious and awesome. This figure is so much fun. It moves so well. It's so cool. You know, the aesthetic of the Mandalorian as a samurai type figure with a wired cape with tons of really cool accessories. The sculpting is phenomenal. The paint apps are incredible because it's got this sort of worn look, this washed look. You know, it's got the backpack, the spear, the rifle, the sword, the dark saber. It's so cool. But I think this figure was released in 2023, and I just got it at San Diego Comic-Con. So this is one that I sort of reach for regularly to pose and to play with and to sort of like just get really good hand feel when I want a figure that sort of poses cool and has cool stuff, you know, cool accessories. I don't think I even did an unboxing video for this. I think this was one where this was like a personal one. Like I just love this figure, wanted to get it. I didn't know when it came out, so I couldn't sort of speak to that. I don't have any of the other movie realization figures. So I do now want a Remnant Stormtrooper. But yeah, phenomenal figure. If you if you're sort of thinking about these movie realization figures, do yourself a favor and pick one up because they're awesome. Josh Brown Toys says mine is pushing the stroller. I didn't get that one. So that one's like the Tamashii Nation store exclusive one, which they had at San Diego Comic-Con. You have the like Lone Wolf and Cub kind of one that has the stroller. I do wish I had that stroller, but I'm not. But the paint apps on this one I think are a little bit better than the stroller one. Larry's Geeky World says Slight came out in 2021. Yeah, all the more reason to bump him from the list. And 1/6 Shooter, Trevor said, yeah, he's a couple years old, but great figure for the movie realization. Yojimbo, Mandalorian, and Grogu. All right. On to the next thing that I can eliminate very quickly and easily and explain why, which makes it that much easier to get rid of off the table. This is from the Ceratopsian, the Creative Beast Studios, Beasts of the Mesozoic Ceratopsian Kickstarter. This was a Kickstarter exclusive glow in the dark figure. Now, this is a shoot. Now I can't remember what dinosaur it is. But anyway, I didn't know this existed until about 2 months ago. I did not know that they had done glow in the dark figures, apart from a little 3-pack that they have of like quite small dinosaurs. And those are rad too. But I didn't know that they had a bigger one. And so when they were doing a live stream, they mentioned that there were glow in the dark versions of this little fella. There's actually 2 versions of this. There's this version, which was the Kickstarter exclusive, and then there's a toy pizza version, which is like orange on the back. So I got the green version, but there's an orange version as well. And now now my hunt is on for the toy pizza orange version. If you ever see one, or you know anybody that has one, feel free to let me know, because now I got to find one. But I ordered this while they were doing the live stream. I started searching, and I actually found a retailer in Australia, of all places, that had these in stock at retail price. And so I ordered one instantly, and by the end of the stream, I was halfway to collecting, all of the 2 of them. This thing's awesome. It glows really, really well. But again, I think this came out a couple years ago, and I just got it this year, but it was certainly not a release this year. And so he is out. It is not a Pachyrhinosaurus. And I know what it is. I have like 2 others of this species. But it hit the lights. I have too many lights on. It would take me like 3 minutes to get it dark in here, dark enough. And it still wouldn't be, because it's still daylight on my side of the world. And I can't remember what species it is, but anyways, it's awesome. Okay, what's next? I have a lot of G.I. Joe Classified in here, and I certainly don't have all of the G.I. Joe Classified that I could. So let me adjust a little bit, and I'm going to eliminate at least one, if not more than one, G.I. Joe Classified figure. As of right now, for G.I. Joe Classified, I have Crystal Ball, Ghost Viper, the San Diego Comic-Con Cold Slither set. I have the Snake Eyes with the polar bear, and I have Wetsuit. Now, this is brutal. I love them all. I know that some of them have to go. I know that I can't make it down to I know that they're not going to make it to the top 10. They can't, because they'd be half of the top 10. I think Ghost... Oh, no, I don't think Ghost Viper. No, I do think Ghost Viper. I think Ghost Viper is out. Ghost Viper is out because he's an army builder. Because it's a cool figure that came with cool stuff, but I may have been swayed by the cool stuff. It's still, at the end of the day, a Viper. It's still not a named character. It's not a character that I needed. It's so cool though. And like the translucent. I feel like I'm regretting this decision, but I've made the decision. I've said it out loud, and so I'm committed to it now. Ghost Viper is out, but when Ghost Viper was announced at San Diego Comic-Con, it was I instantly, I was like, okay, when can I buy this? How soon can I buy this? And I love the timber. I love the spectral hands, and if you don't have this figure, try to get one. It's amazing. It's definitely one of the best figures that came out this year as far as G.I. Joe Classified. But because it's an army builder, because it doesn't have the same nostalgic value, and that's I'll be totally honest, a lot of what I love is sort of tied to emotion. And as much as this is a really, really cool figure, Emotionally, it doesn't do as much for me as some of the other figures that are still in it. For example, Wetsuit. Hmm. Okay. Cold Slither. I thought he might make the. I genuinely thought the Cold Slither set from San Diego Comic Con might make the top 10 because 2025 was the first San Diego Comic Con that I went to. This set kind of has that like effect of like having an emotional component to it. San Diego Comic Con was amazing. The experience was amazing. Seeing Cold Slither live was amazing. Seeing a box set that I thought that so when Classified started in what was it 2019 it was announced 2020 I think the first figures came out. The first thing I said was for San Diego Comic-Con, the best box set that they could possibly do is a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Cold Slither box set. And they did it. And it's amazing. And it's so fun. And the set itself, has an effect on me because of the experience. Objectively, they're not the greatest figures, and so that's why Cold Slither is out. He could have made the top 10. I genuinely think he could have made the top 10 if I was feeling more nostalgic and emotional. But I'm trying to be objective. I'm trying to sort of narrow this down a little bit. I'm gonna keep going with Classified because I think maybe there's more Classified that I can eliminate. I still have 3. I still have Wetsuit, I still have Snake Eyes, and I still have Crystal Ball. You know what? Wetsuit is out. Wetsuit's out. Wetsuit is probably in because of a recency bias. I just got Wetsuit this week. And if he had come out in a couple weeks and he was eligible for 2026, he might have made the 2026 list. It's a fantastic figure. It's a great figure. The drawbacks to this figure, the reason that he's being eliminated are he can't quite carry everything. There's nowhere to put this aside from him carrying it. The helmet isn't as tight as I would like it to be. The turquoise isn't as bright. The orange isn't as bright as I would like them to be. It's really nitpicks. This figure, Wetsuit, is a fantastic figure. The unboxing video that I have not even edited for him will be out next week, and I will be gushing about this figure for a while, I think. But I don't think he's the top 10 for 2025. I just don't think he's quite there. Okay, let me change my focus. Let me look at Jada. I'm going to move these out. I'm now down to 2 Classified figures, which is manageable for now. Jada has a few figures in it. Shaggy Rogers, Vega, and Sagat. All of which are fantastic, all of which I like for different reasons. But before I do that, because I don't know how I'm going to decide on those, Skeletron. I got 2 Skeletron figures. They're fantastic. One of them will be in the top 10. However, I think only one of them makes it into the top 10 because we're basically looking at 2 versions of the same figure. There's parts reuse. I mean, it's a red version and a red and black version and a black and silver version. And I think ultimately I have to pick one. I think my ultimate version of the Skeletron figures is somewhere in between these two. So these are both stock, standard figures that you can go out and buy right now from the Skeletron website. But then with the accessory set, I think these get augmented because there's like little things about, which helmet, which weapon, which, shoulder harness, all those kind of things. So I think my sort of perfect Skeletron figure is probably in between. Now, that being said, there were a couple nitpicks that I had with the red one. Where you see silver like painted on here on the legs. I wish they'd done that with the red one. So I thought the red one was going to be in the top 10. I think it's going to be the Direwolf. I think Direwolf is going to remain, even though he doesn't have his backpack, even though he doesn't have his extra. But then again, no, I said it out loud. I got to stick to the decision. I'm sticking with Direwolf. He's making my top 10. Let me look at let me look at Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. You know what? No, Joy Toy, TMNT, Donatello. As amazing as the Joy Toy Ninja Turtles have been, I got the Turtles and then I was kind of done. They kept releasing more, and as much as I wanted more of them, I didn't pull the trigger on them. And so for that reason alone, I think he's out. He's a fantastic figure, really, really cool figure. Tons of accessories, great paint apps, great articulation, great sculpts. Like everything about this Donatello is fantastic. But I didn't go any further with the Joy Toy Turtles line. And so for that reason, I think he is out. Again, not because he's a bad figure, but because ultimately, play value wise, if I'm not going any deeper, I'm probably not going to play with those turtles as much as I will, some other things. And so, so he's out. Let's see. Let me catch up on the chat here. Not Nasutoceratops. And I still can't think of it. Mr. Ryan Clark says Ghost Viper was my number 2 this year. That's fair. It is a fantastic figure. No top 10 is wrong. They're just different. C-Lab, yeah. Mr. Ryan Clark says, I'm getting my wetsuit tomorrow. Well, I am a little bit jealous of you because he can qualify as a 2026 figure for you. I genuinely think wetsuit's that good. I think I haven't had enough time with him to say that he's one of the best figures of 2026. And again, I do have a couple little nitpicks, but it's a fantastic figure. Spaded One McDysentery says that Sagat is straight up one of the best big bodies you can get anywhere near that price range. Spectacular figure. Yes, he is. But I'll get there in a minute. Red 5 says, I still got to open my Shaggy. Dude, what are you waiting for? Ray Paz, you need the Jungle Trooper from Skeletron. It's awesome. I didn't pick up the Jungle Trooper because Skeletron for me is sort of filling in the ranks of stuff like G.I. Joe Classified and Operation Monster Force more than it's like a main line for me. So the Jungle Trooper, I just thought there was enough green shirts from G.I. Joe and I have enough troop builders for Cobra that it didn't, I didn't pick it up. That's literally the only reason that I didn't pick up the Jungle Trooper. Gatey's Toy says he's a Cylon, and I won't hear otherwise. He's pretty darn close. Game Quest says was saying to Ryan Clark, wetsuit absolutely blew me away. Top 3 classified of 2025 for me. Hope you enjoy it. And top 3 for me, I mean, I've got Crystal Ball, this Snake Eyes in Wetsuit, and he got eliminated. So, you know, Red 5, Joy Toy TMNT line as a whole are amazing looking, except the turtles. I think the turtles look great. It just came down to I can't collect everything, and for turtles, I love my Super 7 Ultimates turtles, and I realized that TMNT Joy Toy 4-inch was a rabbit hole that I was just not willing to go down, is really what it came down to. So Christopher Bouchard, favorite Joes for 2025 is Sci-Fi and Armored Cobra Commander, and the Jungle Trooper from Skeletron is my favorite. I got 2. Can't wait for the 112 Skeletron robots. Yes, I'm very, very excited for that robot. Be prepared for that to make it into my list. In 2026, I have seen maybe more detail than most in terms of articulation and stuff like that for that figure, just in chatting with Ben and stuff like that. So I think that figure is going to be amazing. Let's see. Spaded One McDysentery, the black wash on that Monster Force head sculpt makes me really wish washes were more common in the cheaper lines. They really do wonders. Yeah. He's safely in the top 10. I haven't even sort of touched on Eraser yet, but he's very safely in the top 10. Sagat, on the other hand, is not. And the reason that Sagat is not, and let's do Jada next. I think Jada is due up. Oh no, Sagat fell over and knocked over my display too. How embarrassing. All right, let's bring Jada to the forefront and talk about Jada toys for a brief moment, because they are phenomenal. Jada does a wonderful job making action figures, and the multiple lines that they've got are all doing incredibly good work. The Street Fighter line, the Scooby-Doo line, the Mega Man line, which I've actually picked up a couple figures of, even though I don't remember ever playing Mega Man. But that's how good Jada figures are. Jada figures are so good, and the price is so good that I can't not pick them up. I need to fix Vega's ponytail, make it less wild. Now I'm torn. It's either Vega or Sagat that's got to go. But I think for me, at the end of the day, Sagat has got to go. Not because he's not an amazing figure, but because I just genuinely don't care about Sagat as a character. And this figure is phenomenal. Paint apps, range of motion, articulation, everything about this figure is amazing. And for somebody that leaned more heavily into Street Fighter, I think Sagat would very easily make a top 10. He doesn't make my top 10 because I never played Sagat as a character when I played Street Fighter, maybe ever in my life. That's really what this comes down to. It's an amazing figure. You could probably do a Jada Toys top 10, and it could mirror a lot of people's entire collection's top 10. That being said, Sagat is out. Vega, I think, is my favorite of the Street Fighter figures for 2025, because it did come with the little soft goods. The soft goods belt sash thing leaves something to be desired, but I do really love that they did it. The claws, the masks, the hair, the sort of soft rubber hair plugged into the firmer rubber. Like just the execution of Vega is phenomenal. Plus, I really, really like his loafers, and how the articulation is still phenomenal, even though he's wearing loafers. So he gets some extra marks for that. Yeah, the tattoo tempo, as well as the paint, as well as like on and on and on. Like it's just this is my favorite Street Fighter figure of 2025. That being said, my favorite character of Street Fighter that was released in 2025 is Blanka, without a doubt. But both Sagat and Vega to me were better action figures than he was. Okay, so Vega can go and hide in the back here for a minute. He may make the top 10 still. He might not, though. That's the other thing. There's still a lot of figures on the table here. Game Quest said Blanka absolutely made my top 10. I love that figure and will not hear otherwise. It's a fantastic figure. This is the difficulty. This is why I had 20 plus figures on the table. Like how do you pick? How do you pick? How do you pick? Please somebody tell me how to pick. Mr. Ryan Clark, I did get Blanka. It just I don't know. Part of me thought there should be more texture on it or something. But ultimately, it just didn't make my list. Blanka Blanka might be my favorite Street Fighter character. But the fact that Blanka was designed earlier, I think, might have hindered him making my top 10. The fact that it didn't have toe articulation was a big thing for me. So in terms of posing, I think the articulation in Jada has gotten a little bit better. And I think June has even said as much with the Street Fighter stuff, is that Blanka would be better if he was released now. But they had already sort of cut molds and sort of put it into production. So I'm maybe they'll do a version 2. Maybe they'll do like a update and we'll get the toe hinge or whatever. But maybe not. And I still love that figure. I'm not, if it didn't make my top 10 or my top 20 or my top 50, it doesn't mean I'm getting rid of it. Shaggy for the win. Shaggy's still in it, but he might not end up in the top 10. I'll sort of bump him to the back too. He'll be safe for a minute until I get down to, the last little bit. But Shaggy, I don't know. Shaggy's kind of on the bubble. I'll be honest. Shaggy's on the bubble. Ray Paz says that would be a great Sebastian Shaw. Speaking Moistly said Sagat was my top Street Fighter figure for 2025. That's fair. Totally fair. Like I said, there's no denying that Sagat is a fantastic figure. And I saw Sagat very early in the year. I actually saw Sagat at WonderCon in March, the end of March. The Toy Migos had Sagat and Blanka in hand, and we actually something and I were kind of playing with them at our table. They brought them over. I think those might have been prototypes or like production samples, but sort of pre-release of those figures. And they were amazing. So, I've had access to that figure before I even got that figure in my own collection. And so Sagat is a fantastic figure. I'm certainly not denying that. But it was he's not my guy. He's not my character. So it's a great figure, but not it doesn't sort of move the needle as much for me. Game Quest is this is a very good point, and this is kind of what I'm saying. Game Quest says, I keep hearing Blanka's sculpt is soft, and I still don't know what that means. So for me, when somebody says a sculpt is soft, what it means is there's like detail that's not as good as it could be, and there's detail that's kind of lacking, and that there's almost you know, like the figure is kind of like 90% finished, but the feeling is that there's more detail that could be added. That's what I hear when I hear somebody say that something has a soft sculpting to it. And I agree. I think Blanca is so close, but but then again, I don't know. I mean, I don't know if Blanca is supposed to be covered in fur or not, but in my head canon, he was covered in fur, and the figure's not, and so it lost points, even though he's not supposed to be, apparently, from what I've heard from people. But I kind of thought he was supposed to have fur. But Blanca, there's not enough detail there. It just isn't exciting enough as an action figure, if that makes sense. And a soft sculpt, like I said, is typically, when you look at to use an example from like Marvel Legends, right? You look at like a Wolverine figure that is complete reuse. No, that's not a good. I'm trying to think of an example that's like an obvious example. Soft sculpt just means there's not enough detail. That's when I think of a soft sculpt, it just means that they've kind of like, you know, they've smoothed things out a little bit and not put detail in where they could have or should have. And Blanca does. I feel like Blanca's. I think Blanca's kind of in that category, so I kind of agree with that. Spaded One McDistanterry says, one of my favorite purchases of the year is the Romanki X Cowl Black Male Body. I haven't had this much fun in a while, and it's got me exploring new corners of the toy hobby in customs. Very cool. Blank bucks are a good thing to have just as a reference point for like posing and for yeah, just for fun to just sort of have on the desk. But anyway, speaking moistly, since Sagat was my guy, so I am biased. Yes, and that's exactly it. Blanca was my guy. So I'll be honest, I was a little bit surprised with myself that Blanca wasn't in my top 10. Jada is going to have an interesting year with the Alpha stuff. Roster directly competes with Storm Arena, and they're switching up to a more import style joint system. Exciting times. Yeah, I mean, I'm here for the great Street Fighter Wars of 2026. It's going to be interesting for sure. Oh, this is a good example. GameQuest says, I often see McFarlane figures as soft sculpts. Well, I don't see Blanca that way. I appreciate the perspective. Yes, McFarlane very, very often are soft sculpts. And part of the reason that they are is because they reuse a lot of parts. And so when you reuse a lot of parts, you have to limit how much sculpting you kind of include, and then rely on paint apps and secondary and stuff like that to kind of fill in the blanks. So that's, I think, where you see that. Blanca, I don't know where they're going to reuse it, so I just feel like they could have done a little bit more, but I don't know what more. Like I couldn't say like, oh, they should have done this, they should have done this. Like I said, I'm used to the like 32-bit or 16-bit or whatever, however many bits, like, you know, Street Fighter 2 was. That's my Blanca, and so I don't really know what he's supposed to look like. But anyway, how many figures am I at? I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. So I'm at 15. I'm part of the way. I'm a good part of the way. Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Let's take a look. I got 2 of them. All right, so we got 2 early releases that we managed to get in time for Legion's Con. Now, Necropale is out. I'm excited about Necropale because of the alternate head, but I'm not as excited about Necropale as I am about the Feralist Ranger. Fearless Ranger. Top 10 of the year. And I am biased. I mean, I'm not going to hide that I am biased for Animal Warriors of the Kingdom. Fearless Ranger is rad, but he's completely repaint apart from a couple accessories. These accessories are going to pop up in 2026. This figure is going to pop up again in 2026. Do I love this just because it's one of only 2 figures that Animal Warriors of the Kingdom did in 2025? I think maybe. I think I'm a little bit starved for Animal Warriors of the Kingdom in 2025, but that should not determine my list. And so I think he's out too. So I think there's 0 Animal Warriors of the Kingdom in 2025 that make my top 10 list. Which is, yeah, don't tell Jason. Don't tell Jason that the 2 that we released in small quantities in 2025 did not make my list. They're fantastic. But yeah, I don't know that he's gonna write me up or not. I don't think he watches. I don't think it matters. Anyways, where are we at? Who else can go? Who else can get eliminated? Neil's still in it. I can't believe Neil's still in it. I feel like objectively I need to look at Neil in a moment. Let's take a look at Mythic Legions. I've got the San Diego Comic-Con exclusive Gamerverse version, the Capcom Paladin and Koi. Those are the 2 that I've got for Mythic Legions. I think this is like no contest for me. Koi is in. Koi is amazing. Anthropomorphic, surprise, he stays in. The Paladin, as much as he is awesome and he's exciting, I think there's a little bit of a bias because it's a San Diego Comic-Con, because it was hard to get, because it's for the game, which I'm excited about. But ultimately, I don't think this figure particularly like moves the needle in terms of like new. Like, I feel like I have a lot of this figure. I feel like I have I feel like I have a lot of like knights that now have soft goods, and like this could have been Gideon Heaven's brand. This could have been 3 or 4 other knights, but I think he kind of remained as a result of being a San Diego Comic-Con exclusive and a little bit harder to get, and so on and so forth. I do like the Paladin. I do like the leather. I do like the colors of this. However, is he in the top 10 for me? Like, if him against Koi, no, he's out. He's out. Paladin is out. Koi remains as sort of the proxy for Horsemen and for Horsemen for Mythic Legions. This figure is amazing. Apart from it being a anthropomorphic animal character, the colors are fantastic. The accessories, the loadout, everything about it is really, really cool. Paint apps, I think this is the best paint apps that Four Horsemen did this year. The translucent hands, feet, and head that are then sort of painted over so that you get the translucent parts, but you still get like tons of painting on them. I think Koi without a doubt is in. Speaking of translucent figures, let's take a look at Eraser, because I'm talking about translucent. I have none of the translucent parts showing, but if I pop those up, the translucent head with paint apps over top, translucent arm with like a wrist wrap that goes over top, plus the addition of all those extra translucent parts to make him sort of more translucent when you want him to be. Eraser is definitely in my top 10. Not as much in the way of accessories as something like the Delta Red Trooper, but still a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool parts to go along with that figure. So there you go. They're definitely in the top 10. That Skeletron Direwolf is going to be in the top 10. Neil is going to hang out for a little bit longer. We'll see. By Jungle Figure Factory. Alan says the baby elephant man must go. I don't know, man. Neil was like, he kind of got tossed out, in the show, and I think they did him a disservice. I think Neil was solid. Neil was solid. What am I looking at for numbers here now? Hold on. I got to sort of assess here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. I'm at 12. There's a couple things that I haven't spoken about yet, and maybe that's sort of the next step. I haven't really spoken about why I kept Snake Eyes and why I kept Crystal Ball, so I could certainly talk about that. He's definitely in the top 10, and I'm including Doc Nocturnal Holiday Edition with Krampus, definitely staying in. So don't even get me started on him, but Body Jungle Picture Factory. Neil was the Snarf of Skeleton Crew. You're not wrong, but I love Snarf. So, you make your own list. Neil might stay on my list because you've made that connection for me. Okay. Whatever. And I'm including Doc Nock with Krampus as 1. I'm including the Polar Bear with Snake Eyes as 1. So we're looking at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Yeah. I'm looking at Helena with the Saber Beast. Okay, I still got 2 Jada, and I've still got 2 Classified. But I've also still got 2 Cyberzoic, and I haven't spoken about Cyberzoic yet, so maybe I will do that. Maybe I will talk about Cyberzoic. I'll get these out of the way. Cyberzoic, for anybody that has been watching the channel for a while, you will be familiar with the fact that Cyberzoic, I love Cyberzoic. I love the Dino Rider aspect of it. I love what they're doing with the figures. I'm just like so impressed with everything that they're putting out. The guys behind it are just really great guys as well, and I absolutely love how much passion and skill that they bring to it. And the Kurokami, the dragon, the Arctic dragon, I didn't back in the Kickstarter, and I didn't even add it to my backer kit. I was sort of the impression that I was gonna do Cyberzoic without the dragons because I was buying a bunch, but I wasn't all in. And then I played with the prototype. I sort of hung out with the guys, and wait a minute, I just realized that I've been bullied into getting this or brainwashed. It's like Stockholm syndrome. Anyway, Kurokami is phenomenal. I can't wait to get the Serpent Dragon, which is going to come out in 2026, which, spoiler alert, it's very likely going to be on at least the long list, but probably on the short list. Similarly, I didn't back Helena and the Saber-Tooth Tiger Dino Riders homage during the Kickstarter campaign or during the backer kit campaign. I was really, really late to the party on this. But then the more I talked to the guys at Creative Beast Studios, the more I realized what they were going to be doing with homages to Dino Riders. the more I realized that I was going to be kicking myself by not having it in my collection if I ever wanted to sort of go back and get it. But beyond that, once I saw, painted samples in person, in hand, this thing is so cool. It is so phenomenal, and I'm so excited that I have it, and I'm very much looking forward to more of the Dino Rider stuff from them. And that's why both of those are going to remain in the top 10. Okay, this guy, SH Figuarts. This year, I didn't buy that much stuff, and if I'm being perfectly honest and following my own rules, I didn't buy this in 2025 either. I actually ordered this in 2024, although it was released in 2025. So I guess it does qualify. I think. Pretty sure it's 2025. Yeah, it was 2025. Anyways, all the things that I've talked about, in terms of like play features and play value and all that kind of stuff. While this is a posable action figure, while this is a very cool release, while this version of Shenron is really, really fun, and execution of the, I'm kind of like talking myself into keeping this. So Shenron is mounted onto the clouds in the cleverest way I've ever seen. There are actually magnets in the clouds. And I did a video on this. If you didn't watch it, shame on you. But if I turn it, you can see that there's magnets in 2 of the 3 clouds. And then there's magnets in Shenron. And so you don't have to like peg it on or anything like that. But Shenron's not articulated. It's sort of like a fixed statue type of dragon. Like not even his mouth is articulated. It's just a place to put your Kid Goku. And Kid Goku looks fantastic, but the way that they've mounted him is also interesting. They've sort of used an adapter piece. But this Kid Goku is not the best figure. And so he just kind of lives as a display piece. He doesn't really do much. He just sits on his Shenron. And so for that reason, he is out. Great piece. Super, super happy to have that in the collection. But he can go up top there. All right, so now I'm at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I'm at 11. One more must go. Is it Neil or is it one of the classified figures? I think that's what it comes down to right now. It's either Neil or it is Snake Eyes. That's, I think. Now that still doesn't sort of get me to the point where I know who they are in sort of order. But I should probably pick up the pace a little bit. I hate to say it, but I think Neil's out. I think really what I'm looking at Neil and I'm looking at Snake Eyes. I'm looking at 2 things. The nostalgia factor, Neil doesn't have as much nostalgia, despite being a Star Wars figure, as the first miniseries of the G.I. Joe cartoon does. And my love of Snake Eyes, I think, is far outweighs my love of Neil. And so I think for that reason, I think Neil might be out. Oh, poor Neil. Good night, sweet prince. Good night, Neil. He was, as I said, a last minute addition. So I guess at the end of the day, last one in, first one out. Although he wasn't even. He lasted a lot longer than I thought he would. Okay, where are we at? I think we're at 10. Are we not? Are we not at 10? Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Okay, so we're at 10. So the hard part is maybe done. Maybe. Let's see. Later, Neil. Oh, that's not fair. Let's see. Vine Jungle Figure Factory. Why did Snake Eyes choose those gloves to wear that day? He didn't. He didn't. Shame on you, Alan. He was radioactive on this particular day, and that's depicted in his hands. That's why. Mr. Ryan Clark said that Snake Eyes is fine, just fine. The polar bear is fantastic. Yeah, and I think the polar bear is going to get reposed before I do the top 10. Neil is leaving. Yeah, you wanted him to leave. Polar bear is the best part of the Snake Eyes pack. Yeah, from a certain point of view, I suppose so. Rick's Neil. Poor Neil. I really, really enjoyed Skeleton Crew. More so than a lot of people did. That being said, I think part of it was because I have young children. Part of it was because it was an experience where Disney Plus released one episode per week. And so my kids had to learn how to watch a show in that way rather than the typical kind of Netflix and Disney Plus way of just binging a season and being done with a show in a weekend. We had to sort of schedule when we were going to watch the next episode, which was different and fun and new. And so Neil will always, hold a special place in my heart. He might come back. You guys are kind of talking me into being overly nostalgic about Neil. And I mean, I know that I've said once I say it, I can't go back, but Neil's. I mean, it is a good character. Let me just bring Neil back for a moment. Now I'm reconsidering. Okay, so here's some of the other things about Neil. He has a walkie-talkie that pegs onto his belt, which is very, very cool. He has a backpack that fits on the figure. He has a flashlight that actually can be held in the backpack. And then underneath his backpack, he actually has like his little rangefinder radio thing that pegs onto his belt. So anybody that's sort of talking smack about this Neil figure needs to understand that he didn't get eliminated because he wasn't a good figure. He got eliminated purely because everything else is a better figure. And so I think anybody that's been sleeping on these Skeleton Crew figures, they're good figures. They're really good figures. They did a really, really good job with these figures. The difference is this is a show that came out in 2025, and all of this other stuff kind of, feels more important to me as an action figure. If Neil was from A New Hope or something like that, that doesn't make any sense because I don't have any New Hope figures in here. But I like if Skeleton Crew, if the sort of nostalgia of Skeleton Crew weighed more heavily, I think Neil would still be in. But he's gone. He's gone again, never to be forgotten. Spaded once is Classified holding it down for Hasbro. They always will be for me. I'll be perfectly honest. Classified is my Hasbro line. Ray Paz, I see your comment. I will not be bringing it back. Bring back my sweet boy Neil. Neil is the best, man. Man, so much hate for Neil. I don't know why people hate Neil so much. Mr. Ryan Clark, this is exactly it. Skeleton Crew was fantastic. A love letter to 80s kids adventure films. I'm about to start rewatching Skeleton Crew because it's been a full year, and so I'm when I'm in my office and I am doing emails and doing like like unboxing things that I already have opened or I'm not going to do a video of, like I'll repeat watch things. And so Skeleton Crew is I think next up. I have to finish some Doctor Who stuff, and then Skeleton Crew is next up. Coda 514 says great original Star Wars story. Yes. And to that point, it felt like an original Star Wars story, not just in the sense that it was Star Wars and it was original, but it felt like it felt like old Star Wars. Like I got the same feeling about the universe watching Skeleton Crew as I did watching, A New Hope and Empire and Return of the Jedi. Like it felt more Star Wars than a lot of other things have felt for me in a long time. And I know that it's not for everybody, and I know that it's not mature enough for some audiences, or it doesn't have the characters that some people wanted or whatever. But Star Wars for me has always been about the universe. It's always been about the feeling of being in that universe, and Skeleton Crew felt like I was in that universe again. So this yes, I agree. I would like to see that as well. Snake Eyes is a repaint. Bring back Neil. Bring back Neil. He's not coming back. He's gone twice now. So he's not coming back. Let me tell you why. Hold on. Let me adjust this ever so slightly. There we go. That'll do. Let me tell you why this Snake Eyes remains. This Snake Eyes, I didn't know if we would ever get it. This is as close as we're ever going to get to a Sunbow specific Snake Eyes. This is Snake Eyes from the cartoon. When you can't draw black, you have to draw blue or purple. And he's got this beautiful indigo kind of finish to him. The radiation hands from the Mastiff Ice miniseries, which to this day is my second favorite GI Joe Sunbow era GI Joe offering in terms of the cartoons. The Mastiff Ice to me is fantastic. The fact that this is Snake Eyes, after he's basically sacrificed his life to protect the other Joes, and then we get sort of a reprise. He is not dead. He just has he just has radiation poisoning, radiation sickness, or whatever the heck they say. So for that reason, like this is literally dripping in nostalgia for me. This particular figure. Then coupled out with the fact that we get this polar bear in the 2-pack, and this is easily my favorite G.I. Joe Classified release of 2025. My favorite, not to be confused with the best, because I think the best classified release of 2025 is Crystal Ball, which came as a surprise because Crystal Ball, historically, like in the vintage line, is kind of a dud. But the way they elevated the lore, the way they sort of came out with the translucent parts, the Cthulhu with horns and the sort of spectral blade and the crystal ball, the actual crystal ball. He comes with a shield that has the and now Anytime I'm live, I can never remember. Ventricular ventriculation. What's the? He has the shield where when you turn it, it changes pictures. Lenticular ventriculation. That's what it's called. Um, Crystal Ball is without a doubt the best release that Classified had in 2025. In my mind, there's not another figure that's anywhere near that. Ghost Viper is close, but Ghost Viper wouldn't exist if Crystal Ball didn't. And so that's why Crystal Ball sort of gets the top 10 for me. The polar bear is absolutely fantastic. And as far as polar bears go, he may get knocked off of his sort of podium sooner rather than later when Mythic Legions does their polar bear. But the fact that this polar bear can stand on his hind legs without changing heads. So Mythic Legions comes with an alternate head to allow for you to do this, but the Classified team actually figured out how to do it without changing it. That's amazing, and you don't even break the sculpt. So they've done a fantastic job with that. As I said, the polar bear is amazing, and part of the reason that Snake Eyes sort of will be high up on the list will be because he's got sort of two things going for him. He's got the polar bear as well as the nostalgia. So there you go. There's the polar bear standing on his own two legs. I'm not holding on to him. Look, no hands. Fantastic animal to go along with an action figure. Collecting Brothers, I need to pick up that SM33. I think I'm only SM33 away from having the full Skeleton Crew Black Series offering. But now I can't remember. It's either SM33 or Brutus, because shout out to Terrence. Terrence's next toys, or he's been picking them up at Rosscon for me, and he got me 3 of the kids plus Janad Narud, or whatever his name is, and I picked them up at Legions Con, and he's since picked up a couple others for me, which I probably won't get to Legions Con next year, but and Vine Jungle Figure Factory, yeah, I'll most likely buy those Skeleton Crew figures at Ollie's. Yeah, I mean, they're great figures. Zuni Ceratops, Brian Brink, thank you. Yes, it is absolutely the Zuni Ceratops. All right, so I'm down to 10. Now I have to decide. This is the hard part. This is the part where I decide who is number 1 and who is number 10. And that is easier said than done. I haven't even spoken about Doc Knock yet, but spoiler alert, he's going to be very, very high on the list. I'm just moving people to sort of roughly where I think they may end up without telling you why. Let's see. Don't worry, I'll go into a lot more depth in 2 minutes once I get this sorted out the way that I need to in my head. He's going to get more central. That's fine. He's going to go over here. Oh, I'm way behind on the comments. I didn't realize I was so behind on the comments. Shoot. Can the polar bear stand up on two legs? Yes. Is the polar bear irradiated? No, not as far as I know. Christopher Bouchard, best classified is Armored Cobra Commander and Sci-Fi. Sci-Fi is really, really good. I had the same, little nitpicky criticisms that I had about Sci-Fi as that I had about Wetsuit, but Wetsuit meant more to me from a nostalgic perspective, so he didn't make the list. Ray Pat says, I would say Budo is the best. Budo is objectively a fantastic figure and definitely would be in my top 10 classified figures of 2025, probably even my top 5. But the but again, I'm leaning less and less into classified, and so part of that sort of plays into what's going to make my top 10. Mr. Ryan Clark, did the G.I. Joe cops or firefighters not rate for you this year? I didn't even pick them up. I don't need those figures. They're cool figures. I've heard lots of good things about them, lots of good reviews, but I don't need them. There's enough classified releases for me that I don't need those offerings. Speaking Voicely says, I like the classified Scorpion guy. Fantastic figure. I did have some nitpicks about mine. And again, probably would be in the top 10, but ultimately, got bumped by some other stuff. This is exactly it. Mr. Ryan Clark says, Cristobal had to walk so that Ghost Viper could run. Exactly. Spade of Dysentery said, I'm still impatiently waiting for a company to do a 112 articulated apes like Classified has been doing these animals. Yeah, I mean, to kind of realistic apes in a 112 scale would be, yeah, for sure. I can't think of anybody that's doing that. Yeah. Anyways, wanted to see how this would shake down. Yeah, Brick's doing a live thing probably now. I feel like I'm infringing on his time frame, but I gotta get this done. I'm down to 10, right? I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, so I'm down to 10. All I gotta do is commit and pull the trigger and like do it. Okay, so some of these are almost like reliant on the promise of what's to come, and I'll explain what that means momentarily, but I feel like I've more or less got my list. That being said, I gotta tidy this up and then I can crop the shot a little bit. Vegas is gonna get bumped back here. Cristobal's gonna lose his sword. He's just bumping people with his sword. So the sword's just coming out of his hand. Not because it's not cool, but because he's stabbing people in the back, which is never a good thing. Yeah, so this is the top 10. I'm trying not to block Kurokami's face. But I'm getting very close to knowing who goes where and why. I'll be able to justify all these decisions momentarily. All will be revealed. All will be revealed in time. Let's see. Oh, sorry, Doc. Okay. So I think this is it. I think this is the... Okay. This is my 10. This is my top 10. In this order. I'm going from 10 to 1. Let's see. From 11 to 1. We'll get here. Hold on. How can I... Let me see if I can like sneak Neil there. Neil's there in spirit. All right, there we go. This is what I've settled on. This is what I've settled on. This is my top 10. This is the order, and I will explain it as I go. Okay, so honorable mention in 11th spot / 10.5 is Neil. Skeleton Crew was amazing. I don't collect a ton of Black Series stuff, but I felt compelled at Rosscon prices to get these Skeleton Crew figures, and so he remains as a lurker in the top 10. Snake Eyes at 10 with the polar bear. The nostalgia with this, the set, right? Like just the Mass Effect sort of effect lands him in a top 10 position by virtue of nostalgia. The figure itself is a repaint. The polar bear is amazing, but a polar bear by itself probably wouldn't have cracked the top 10. So, he's number 10 as a result of that. The Dire Wolf, the Skeleton Crew, their figures are amazing. This is an amazing figure. If you don't have any Skeletron crew, if you don't have any Skeletron figures, do yourself a favor and just pick one up. Take your pick, whether it's the Dire Wolf, whether it's just the Skeletron sort of red figure, or the Jungle Trooper. They are really, really good figures, really well executed, really well sculpted. The articulation's amazing. The paint apps are amazing. The accessories are great. They are very, very good figures. Jada Street Fighter Vega in 8 would have been higher if it was a character that I probably cared about more. But this year, my favorite character being Blanca, wasn't as good a figure as I wanted. And so Vega is sort of the proxy for the Street Fighter stuff. And so he gets a 7. But as I said, could have been anywhere up to, top, 4 or 5 if it had been a different character, I think. Stay tuned to 2026. E-Honda might be right up there. Eraser is amazing. I'm excited for more Monster Force. The Monster Force stuff, I want to see more bucks. I want to see more parts. I want to see more from them. This thing didn't get any higher because all of the figures that I've gotten from Monster Force so far have kind of looked and felt like this figure. That's the only reason that he's not any higher than he is. So at number 6, I've got the Monster Force Eraser. At number 5, I've got Shaggy Rogers. Shaggy, for me, represents the start of Jada's Scooby-Doo line, and there's definitely figures that I want more than Shaggy. Scooby being one of them, some of the monsters, But I'm excited about the line because they're really, really fun. The fact that Jada is doing the line and doing it so well is why Shaggy makes it into the top 10. It's not so much that Shaggy is, this high on the list. It's that this line I'm extremely excited about. I'm very much looking forward to what they're going to do in 2026 and then potentially 2027 and forward. At number 5, I've got Crystal Ball. Crystal Ball was amazing. As I said, translucent parts, the sort of lore that they're using that sort of surrounds Crystal Ball to me is fantastic and really, really fun. He might have been higher if the lore was sort of put out there in a different way and in a way that was more than just like the brand team saying, hey, this is the lore that goes along with Crystal Ball. If there was a comic book that sort of shared the lore of what they're doing with Crystal Ball, he might have gotten higher. It is what it comes down to. Koi is rad. At at number 4. Koi is amazing. The Mythic Legions, I like the direction that they're going with new parts, new bucks, just new stuff, expanding the lore, expanding the world. And, in the same way that I'm sort of, championing Koi as a result of new lore, you could look at why Crystal Ball isn't in the place of Koi. The G.I. Joe stuff, while they're doing cool stuff in the comic books, it doesn't translate to the figures. Whereas with what Mythic Legions are doing, what the Four Horsemen are doing, it's all sort of part of the same world. And so Koi kind of may have been, in position 5 or 6 as a result, but what Four Horsemen are doing in terms of lore building, in terms of world building, and sort of on and on, is why Koi is as high as he is. Number 3 is going to be Helena and the Saber-Tooth Tiger, the Dino Riders homage Kickstarter exclusive release, which may still be available on Creative Beast Studios website, is just an absolutely phenomenal combo. The Smilodon is awesome. The armor is really, really good. That's the best armor for me from the first wave. And the figures is a lot of fun as well. So she gets number 3. Number 2 is Kuro Kami, the Arctic Dragon. I didn't expect to like it as much as I do, but it's fantastic. And I think he kind of set the precedence for me for Cyberzoic, and now I'm really, really excited to see more. Really excited to see what comes next in terms of new figures, new armors, new dragons, all that kind of stuff with Cyberzoic. So those kind of go hand in hand. Super, super excited what they're doing with Cyberzoic. Number 1, and I haven't talked about it at all, but new to me as a line, new to me as a property, but the holiday edition Doc Nocturnal that came with the Krampus, that came with a ton of accessories. It's got more soft goods than any figure that I've ever had before. The articulation is fantastic. The accessories are painted incredibly well. They all get loaded on the figure. The loadout is wild. The fun that I've had just sort of playing with this Krampus. Just the fact that like you can smooth out the fur, but then if you go the other way, like I don't even know if that's by design or if that's just like how it's sort of turned out. But just the execution on Mezco stuff has got me really, really excited about the sort of idea of getting 1 or 2 more Rumble Society figures in 2026. So stay tuned on that. So there's my top 10. That's it. I'm sticking with it. I'm happy with it. Feel free to disagree. Your number 1 might not even be on my list. My number 1 might not be on your list. That's okay. That's the way this goes. So anyways, there you go. That's my top 10. Honorable mention,
Neil. Number 10, Snake Eyes with a polar bear. Number 9, the Skeletron Dire Wolf. Number 8 is the Jada Toys Vega. Number 7 is the Operation Monster Force Eraser. 6 is Jada Toys Shaggy. Number 5 is G.I. Joe Classified Crystal Ball. Number 4 is the Mythic Legions Koi. Number 3, Creative Beast Studios Cyberzoic Helena and Sabertooth Tiger. Number 2, the Cyberzoic Kura Okami Arctic Dragon. And number 1, without a doubt for me, is the Mezco Rumble Society Doc Nocturnal Holiday Edition with Krampus, the Winter something box. I can't remember what it's called. Anyway, he's awesome. If you don't have Mezco figures, like I didn't, maybe reconsider that. Anyways, it's been an absolute pleasure doing this with you guys. It's been fun. It's been, awesome to have you guys here for the year. This kind of wraps up the year. I will have in the next couple of days my collection tour video for 2025. What is my office? What does my collection look like this year? That just needs to get edited, and then that will be put up on the channel. A couple more unboxings to come soon. The wetsuit unboxing was recorded but not edited yet. I've got Vintage Collection Bantha to do the editing for as well. He didn't factor into this at all, but there you go, and more to come on the channel. Thank you guys for joining me this year. Thank you guys for being a part of this. And hopefully, you guys will be around for a little while longer. Lots of fun stuff coming up in the new year. Lots of Space Zombies from Mars news. So stay tuned for all of that. Until next time, everybody. Bye-bye.
Driving fast car, whether I'm here or I'm on Mars, I'm gonna die young, baby, that I know. I'll leave a beautiful memory when I go. Well, I woke up this morning feeling pretty damn tired. I was up all night at a moonlight fire. There was beer, whiskey, beautiful girls, but you know can't afford no diamonds and pearls. So I told them I was famous for singing this song. I thought for a while I'd strung them along. One said, fellas, got a pretty good game. Tomorrow I won't even remember his name. Well, living and loving and driving fast cars. Whether I'm here or I'm on Mars, I'm gonna die young, baby, that I know. But I'll leave a beautiful memory when I go. Play that just like your daddy taught you. Now that sounds sweet. Guitar picker. So I went to the fridge, grabbed myself a beer. Jumped in the car that I wanted to steer. I told them guys I'll be back in the jiff, but I accidentally drove my car off a cliff. So now I'm dead, but the song remains. Even though I scattered all of my brains on the inside of my black T-bird. I hope y'all remember these beautiful words. Well, living and loving and driving fast cars, whether I'm here or I'm on Mars, I'm gonna die young, baby, that I know, but I'll leave a beautiful memory when I go.